welcome to Reconcilable Differences. I'm Phillip George Jr. and my partner in crime is Paul Smith, and we are with the On the Move team at eXp Realty. Paul, episode 6, so we got 3 awesome topics we're going to cover, and I'm happy to be here. Happy to be doing episode 6 with you of Reconcilable Differences. The first subject.
Okay, we have some things to get out of the way first.
Oh, you want to get something out of the way? Okay.
So first off, we forgot to do the following. We want everyone to know that Reconcilable Differences is filmed before a live audience, number 1. All right? Okay, we have to get that out of the way.
Okay.
All right? And we can go into all that detail later.
I think we're going to have to add a laugh track if we do that, though.
Yeah. Wait a second. Okay, we'll have that later.
Okay, all right. Well, fair enough. We are filmed in Cary, North Carolina, here in our office. Our first topic today of 3 is cornhole a sport?
My opinion is yes. By the way, we weren't the ones that raised this question. Somebody else did to us.
Yeah.
So, the Oxford definition of a sport.
Oh, now you're getting technical.
Yeah. I'm going to the source, all right?
Okay.
Don't quote me on this, but it references that there has to be some kind of physical exertion, which in cornhole there's some, okay?
Yeah.
Beyond the beer drinking, by the way. And there is physical exertion, and there has to be a level of skill. So by that definition, it's a sport.
Okay.
All right.
Well, I'm going to tell you my opinion, and we're going to get into some other things about the game and whatnot, but it's a game. It's a game. It's a competition, yeah, but it's not a sport. It's not a sport. If you can do it while holding a beer, I don't believe that is a sport. I just don't think it's a sport.
Well,
do you consider horseshoes a sport?
Again,
bowling, I guess.
Physical exertion and a level of skill by that definition. Right?
Okay.
All right, so you do realize that this is a professional sport. Like there's an American Cornhole League.
Association, yeah.
I got league.
I agree with you.
There's 15 conferences across the country.
Wow.
Dude,
I did not know that.
I got their their player and fan code of conduct policy here.
I just don't think if you can hold the beer while doing the activity, it's a sport.
By the way,
bowling, you actually have to put your beer down and hold a big ball and throw it down.
Okay. Paul always has stories about pretty much everything.
Yes.
So make sure I don't forget to tell my cornhole story.
Okay. How about right now? Since we're talking about cornhole. Oh, that might be a little... Okay, I would say be careful how you color it, maybe.
Okay, all right. So, but let me tell that at the end.
Okay, all right.
Okay. So, cornhole's on ESPN. Dude, I'm telling you, that brings me back to the day. You're too young to remember the Wide World of Sports.
Okay, yeah, right.
Okay, all right. Wide World of Sports was great on Saturdays because if I was in the house and I caught it when I was younger, they'd hit that's where I learned about curling. What the heck are these people doing on ice? They got brooms.
I will say, though, the difference is they're not drinking beer while they're doing it.
I bet when they're practicing or they're goofing off at home, they're drinking beer.
But when they're doing the broom thing,
they're not drinking.
They don't have a beer in their hand.
No, but they're building up a thirst. All right.
Okay, that's good. That's funny.
Yeah, they're building up a thirst.
So if you allow me, I think it's neat to look at history of things a little bit. One of the things that I thought was interesting is the game was originally based off of an 1883 patent for Polar quoits, spelled Quoits. I don't know how to pronounce it. If you guys do, obviously let us know. But it developed from that game. Did you know that?
I had no idea about
All right. And then I want to tell everybody, if you only take one piece of information from this segment, just one piece of information, the distance between the 2 boards is 27 feet for adults, from the front of the board to the front of the other board. So that's the thing is, whenever I go to set up my cornhole boards, I'm always like, what is it, Kelly, what is it? What's the distance? And I have to look it up. So now, because I've done a little research and you watch this show, if you remember, 27 feet. The rest of it doesn't matter. For example, it has dimensions for the pitcher's box. Basically, the length of the box and 3 foot. But if you're playing in a backyard and you don't have quite as much room, if you can get the 27 feet, then at least you're keeping your aim, your practice consistent. So if your box is a little smaller on one side, the pitcher's box, that's not going to be the end of the world. But not having that distance between the proper distance is going to change the way. It's like shooting on an 8-foot basketball game. You're not going to hit a 10-foot shot.
You said 27 feet between the cornhole boards.
Yes, that is right.
I did a paper on something in college back in the day.
Okay.
Right? Is it a coincidence that 27 feet is the average distance that the average person can throw an empty beer bottle? Is there some kind of correlation there?
I don't know, but I think that's hilarious. Are you being serious?
I didn't do it. Well, this is kind of something that I mess around with Diane about.
Okay.
Hey, I did a paper on this in college.
Okay.
Like, I did a paper in college on pretty much anything that sounds ridiculous.
Okay.
But sometimes it actually sounds like it actually happened.
Okay. All right. So did this one actually happen?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It was for my physics class.
So how far can someone throw a beer can?
No, the average. Like the average is like underhand, because you can throw the, what do they call it? The bag?
The bags, yeah.
Okay, you can throw the bags either underhand or overhand.
Okay.
There is no rule.
There's no rule about that I can see.
Okay, so my paper was built upon, by the way, do not do this at home because we don't condone this.
Right.
And certainly don't condone littering. Okay.
That's right.
So an empty beer bottle underhanded. Okay, average 27 feet, which doesn't seem a lot.
Empty beer bottle.
Empty.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm not talking about you're winging it.
I got you.
Just casually.
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe that have something to do with the origination of cornhole?
As far as it was based on the Pollard quote thing or whatever. But
I kind of like mine better.
I think I do too, but again, it's not true. So, but with that being said, the other thing is if you're playing with kids, depending on their age, I think the junior distance between the two is 15 to 20 feet. I would say if you got teenagers, they're probably going to do 20 feet. If you got pre-teenagers, what do you call those? Toddlers? Those aren't toddlers, right? They're just kids, that aren't.
Or you call them preteens.
Preteens. There you go. Then that might be closer to 15 feet. The other thing is, it's important to note the bags, the hole is 6 inches wide and it is centered from the top from about 9 inches from the top. So if your board is off, if you make them yourself, make sure you do that.
And by the way, we have on the move team cornhole boards.
Excuse me. Yes, we do. We absolutely do.
Are we going to have those available on our website for purchase?
No.
Well, we should.
Yeah, I will tell you this. I like the game because unlike horseshoes, where you have this metal thing that could hurt someone, this horseshoe, this metal thing that you're flinging down, which I grew up with. Do you guys play horseshoes up in Boston?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah? Well, I grew up with it. And again, it's one of those games where you can do with a beer in your hand, but the bags are so much safer. If a kid runs by and gets whacked upside the head with a bag, it's not going to change the day. You know what I mean? It's going to be okay. It hurts, but they're going to be okay, right? I don't believe it's a sport. You guys obviously tell us what you think. Paul thinks it is.
Well, your reference to horseshoes reminds me about a couple different things. I do think it's a sport, first off. I do think it's a sport. But I want to read something from this. Again, I have a copy of the American Cornhole League's Player and Fan Code of Conduct Policy. All right?
Okay. Is there something you want to point out?
There's something I want to point out.
Okay.
Yeah. This is something from their general policy section. Respect venues and venue staff. Okay. This is what it says in this section. Drinking and eating in the parking lot is not allowed unless prior approval has been given by the venue and tournament director. Bringing food or beverage into a venue is not allowed unless prior approval has been given by the venue and tournament director.
That's serious.
Violation of this policy will result in immediate removal from the tournament and the premises. Players may be subject to arrest and additional suspension plus fines by the ACL. Now, first off, if they want to consider themselves a sport and they got a league, right? This is saying that you can't tailgate.
Why would you do it?
Why would you do the sport?
I wouldn't want to do the sport.
You can't tailgate.
Yeah. Why would you be a fan?
What,
you can go watch the competition if you can't tailgate.
What goes with fandom?
Yeah.
Tailgating.
Yes, absolutely.
That's kind of what America is all about.
Well,
right? That's like saying, hey, I'm going to the Patriots game.
And not grilling in the parking
And Bob
lot.
Kraft says no more tailgating. Robert Kraft.
I'm probably
my
not
good
going.
friend,
Yeah,
Robert Kraft.
Robert.
Yeah. Says no tailgating.
I'm probably not going. Like, that's half the fun.
Well, number one, there would be a revolt.
Yes.
No one would go.
That's right. Yeah.
No one, forget it. That's not going to happen.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's kind of crazy, I think, if you ask me.
I do as well.
So no tailgating. I mean, right there, it should be thrown out.
I think that
as a sport.
I think no tailgating does further my opinion that it's not a sport.
I'd have to agree with that.
Oh, we might have talked himself out of it, guys.
I'd have to agree with that. I'd have to agree. It lessens the fan experience.
Okay.
And by the way, I don't mean tailgating like you to go there and you just drink. No, listen, tailgating is an event. Food. You play cornhole. You play cornhole at the tailgating.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Like that, we bring the boards and play. It's a great time. And again, drinking is just part of it, but there's food. I don't know if you've ever seen that these episodes and different sportscasters have done this where they go around to different tailgatings at different sporting events, different colleges, different things like that. People make all types of food out there, barbecue, but it depends on the region what they're making there, and that's a part of it. It's a culture thing, and that is America.
Yeah,
is a different
pork. I mean seafood,
burgers,
chili.
Do they do like
chowder.
in Maryland? Do they do like deviled crabs out there?
They do everything.
Yeah.
Man. It depends on what area you're in.
Absolutely. So we should do an episode about barbecue in general because there's different barbecue all across the nation.
Okay, don't you think we should probably save that for on the move in the triangle?
Oh,
and we can because we're going to do spots.
Yeah.
It's just not going to just be about new home areas or where's 5 points that kind of thing.
Yeah.
We can do it on established places, new places, different barbecues.
Yeah.
Like I don't even know if you can get more tomato-based barbecue down here versus the vinegar-based, which we're so used to in North Carolina.
Yeah, and for those episodes, we'll have a link in the description so that you guys can go test out and tell us what you think of a particular restaurant or locale.
Why can't we have taste tests just here by me and you?
I like that.
Except we're on diets.
We are on a diet.
Yeah, I was going to say something that.
Well, he just really brought down the mood of the show.
Not pleasant. Anyway,
reminding us of the
moving
diet.
on. Is it time for my cornhole story?
I'm scared to say this, but yes.
All right, and I'll try to make it. Okay, so this was kind of funny, in my opinion. All right, you were there.
I was there.
Yeah. In fact, there were.
If it's the story I'm thinking of.
Yep. Okay. So we were winding down the evening at a local establishment, and I can name the local establishment, right?
No, I wouldn't.
No. Okay. Anyway, a local establishment, and big place. In part of their outside area, they have cornhole boards.
Yeah.
So we.
And let's say this was a number of years ago at this point.
Oh yeah. It was a long time ago. We were in real estate though.
Yeah, we were still in real estate.
Yeah, we had some other folks that were playing with us that are not realtors. They
We were
have
having a
something
good
to do with
time.
real estate. So we were well into a game, two teams, of course, and we were setting some of us we were on the outside boards. We set our beers on a brick wall that was facing the parking lot. So we're playing, we're downing our beers, having a good time, and then all of a sudden, someone from the parking lot comes up out of the parking lot to where I'm standing, where my beer is, and picks up my beer and starts to walk away with my beer.
Yeah, that was weird. Number one, if you're a germaphobe, I don't like to drink after people. That's just gross. The random person that you don't know, you just pick up their beer, and he took a swallow of it too, by the way.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he took a swallow of it and was going to walk away with the beer. It was it was a gentleman. Yeah.
Oh, maybe I don't remember this. I don't remember that happening.
Yeah. So they come over. The beers are on the rail. He grabs the beer. It's about a half a beer. Drinks a swallow and is going to walk away. It was very odd.
With the beer?
With the beer, yeah, because he wasn't inside the restaurant. It's not like he mistaken it for his beer. He just literally picked it up, took a drink, and was going to leave with the beer. And then Paul does what Paul does. Do you remember what you said?
Oh, I remember exactly what I said.
Well, there was a superlative that we're not going to use here.
Yeah,
but it was put that beer down.
Put that blank beer down.
Yeah.
All right.
And the guy was so startled.
And offended.
And offended that he would, but he put the beer down. And it was quite clear that Paul wasn't going to have him taking his beer off. Although you got another beer because,
You don't mess with a man's beer.
That's right.
By the way, no violence.
No. There were some words exchanged.
There was the words.
Some more superlatives.
Like he objected and thought he could take my beer. I just re-emphasized that he was not taking my beer and to put it down, which he did do, and then walked, and then he scuttled away,
I will tell you this. I was watching it unfold, and I didn't say anything because I was so flabbergasted that the fact that somebody would drink someone else's beer, it just didn't occur to me that someone would do that. And then to be offended that we had a problem with them drinking our beer, I was like, what is going on today? But to be fair, I lost that cornhole match. But with that being said,
and I got a new beer,
and he got a new beer. Yeah. So all's well that ends well, as they say. And we also now pay a little more attention to where we put our beers.
Yes.
With that being said, I don't think cornhole's a sport, and I really don't understand why they don't allow tailgating. But it is a fun thing to do.
That league does.
That league.
Others might do something different.
But you do enjoy playing cornhole, don't you?
Yeah.
I like it. It gives you something to do.
Hey, does it have competition in it?
Yes.
All right. Then you answered the question.
And you know what it's fun too is if you're having a backyard cookout or barbecue, it also gives the kids something to do. That they're not going to hurt themselves. Like I said, if you're playing horseshoes, they could end up hitting themselves in the head, which is bad, right? And have you ever seen the other games like the lawn darts? That seems like that's just a bad idea.
Let me tell you, I wasn't going to go there, but when you started talking about horseshoes, that's exactly what popped into my head. Though we didn't even need to talk. They're dangerous.
I think so.
Those things are dangerous. In fact, I think, can you even get them anymore?
The lawn darts?
Yeah.
I don't know, and we're not trying to necessarily chastise or badmouth any particular company, but the idea of taking something very heavy, throwing it up in the air to have it come down, and then putting
with a pointed end,
and putting that in the hands of a child seems like it's bad.
Well, I think it's bad to even put it in the hands of an adult.
Oh, yeah, because they're usually drinking, right?
Yes.
All right, Paul. So cornhole is not a sport. Cornhole
is a sport.
You guys tell us what you think about it. But if you think it's a sport, you're wrong. So there's that. With that being said, are you ready for the next topic, Paul?
I'm ready.
Maybe we should talk a little something about real estate, and we absolutely are. And in fact, we're going to highlight something that the On the Move team does. We believe in pictures, and we believe in the 3D tour. And in fact, every home that we list, unless the client doesn't want it, gets a 3D tour. Doesn't matter price point. It's something that we do because of a couple reasons. Number one, it allows the buyer to take their tour. When most of the tours that I see out there from the old days to now, meaning the HD cameras, now they're doing it with the drones. You don't need drone photography, in my opinion, unless you have a real expansive property. For instance, if you have a 14-acre tract of land with a 5-acre pond, we're going to have to get up above everything to kind of showcase that to a potential buyer. But if you have just a normal regular home with a normal sized lot, maybe an acre or less, that kind of deal, then you don't really need drone photography, and you don't need the drone flying through the house. The buyer, let's say the buyer is really into kitchens, Paul, and the problem with the drone photography, the problem with the camera is that it's a video. They have to keep pushing play. With the 3D tour, they can actually go into that kitchen. They can spend all day in that kitchen if they want to. They can zoom in on your tile backsplash. They can look at your cabinets, your countertops. They can really get a sense and a feel because they're in the house, and they can move about that house. We actually do a lot of scan points. We have an in-house photographer that does this so that our 3D tours are not what I would consider janky or I don't know what the right word is, but allowing for smooth transitions into different spaces.
Yeah, it's a true 3D Matterport tour. It's not a slideshow. It's not a visual tour. You can walk through it.
Absolutely.
Dollhouse view, all of those things. Yeah.
The one thing I also wanted to point out, Paul, is that the 3D tour and the photos, which the full complement of photos that you can put on MLS now, and that feeds to other websites through the IDX feed, is 100 photos. Now, we try to use as much as we possibly can, even going so far as to taking pictures of, say, the community amenities, other amenities in the municipality, in the area. And so we try to use as many photos as we can because the houses that don't have photos are not not going to get looked at as much. Buyers will move through those. Now, the reason why I'm talking about pictures and 3D tour as a service that we do on the Move team is that the way the camera maps the entire inside of your home, it allows us to frame that camera, that image, the way that we want to showcase what the home has, not just what's in the home. And if you've ever tried to take a picture of a room while you're in the room, you end up getting maybe the corner and two walls. It's very difficult. But the way that we map the entire feature or entire area of the house allows us to really frame the photos, pick the ones that show your home in the best possible light. Accurately, but the best possible light.
Yep. So we've been using the 3D Matterport tour for years. Long
before I think it was mainstream.
We invested in the camera years ago.
Yep.
We made it part of our listing. We made it mandatory, more or less. Phillip mentioned a couple things that I like as well. The call out. We can show detail, like custom fireplace. This type of level 5 granite in the kitchen, and then you can add more detail notes.
I call these data tags.
That's right.
Yeah, or points of interest.
Yeah.
And it really does build. We've said in other things, it helps us justify your list price.
Right. Defend the list price.
That's
too.
right.
That's right. So the Matterport camera, because it does take a picture of the whole room, it also gives us dimensions. We get a floor plan sketch from it with exact room measurements. Clients love this. Consumers like it.
Yes.
It's one of the highest things that they ask for in terms of information that they want to see listed about a property. Also, what I found is when you combine the 3D Matterport tour, they can see where the walls are, and you have the room dimensions. They can measure the room even, and they can see that their stuff fits.
Absolutely.
Okay? Yeah, which they love doing.
Like digitally. You can measure. Yeah, absolutely.
That's right. That's right. But, I am amazed when I look at our MLS and I see, how do we separate ourselves as realtors?
And our listings.
On our listings from the other guy. So it's the number of photos we do. We maximize what we do because we're paying for it in our MLS. We might as well utilize it.
Absolutely.
And it benefits our clients. It gets a better dollar, shows their property in a better light, and it gives consumers what they want to see in our listings. We do the 3D tour. We do the floor plan sketch. All right. We give the consumers what they want, and it's all posted online. What do buyers want, and what does this mean in the long run? Well, I got some stats here for you regarding the market.
That's where I was going.
And Phil, and I'll name a couple, and then you can jump in.
All right.
So consumers in general, they're engaged 300% more with the 3D Matterport tour when that's present, and that's huge. All right, 74% of agents using Matterport win more listings. If you're a member of the team, if you will, we supply access to do Matterport 3D tours for you, for all our team listings, all your listings, if you're a member of the team, at the team's cost. And that includes other services like the still photos, the floor plan sketch, if you will.
And our in-house photographer does a great job. Being an in-house photographer, she is incentivized to make your home look the best. Our listings, your home. And she does a great job of that. I can't tell you how many compliments we get about it. It appeals to the buyer. It appeals to the consumer. And again, like you say, agents get 74% more listings. Even we get more because we do it even a different way. Like I said, it's not wonky as Paul described it. It's a smooth transition and allows people to really take their tour.
Yeah, and when you're sitting with a seller and you ask them, Mr. Seller, can you tell me where the buyer for your home is going to come from? They cannot. They're like, and you know what? I can't specifically tell you either, but I can tell you this: I'm going to show it to everybody out there.
Absolutely.
And we know we're going to expose it to the best buyer.
From your next door neighbor to people all over the world, they're going to know about your house.
Yeah. A couple other things, little tidbit from Matterport directly.
Okay.
Millennial buyers.
Okay.
We know this from NAR. 35% of the new home buyers are millennials. All right. They want more engaging material. They want video. Okay. And in the next 2 years, it's estimated that 80% of those millennials, by the way, that's an estimated 67 million buyers.
Wow.
80% of them are going to be purchasing a home. You know what? Give me a few percentages of those.
Yeah, I would like that.
Yeah, you got that.
And as a seller, you would like that as well.
Yeah. Here's something else as a seller. All right. This is according to Redfin as it relates to Matterport. Redfin states that homes sell an average of 10 days faster and for $50,100 more than comparable homes, thanks to Matterport 3D walkthroughs.
I would say
And
that's
other,
been our
and other
experience
technology
too.
used, but that's one of the primary things.
Wouldn't you say that's been your experience?
We have sold houses sight unseen.
Yeah, I got a great story about that actually. I had a couple. One of the folks were here and they looked at our listing and they liked it. They wanted to move forward, but their spouse was in another state, literally across the country. I think they were in Texas. And I said, well, hey, let me send them this 3D tour and let them take a look at it. And the counterpart took that tour online, looked at it, and then said, yes, let's move forward. And we sold the house because of it. Because unless you've experienced it, I'm sure if you haven't, you're going to go check it out now. But it literally puts you in the home. I mean, you really feel like you're in the home. You know that home intimately after you've taken that tour, because you can spend all day if you want. You can take a tour for 24 hours if you want to. I don't necessarily recommend that, but again, you're going to get the information that you want about that home. And again, it showcases the house in the best light, and it really shows the greatest things about your house to the consumer, to the public, and again, we get them sold.
I have a little story as well. So.
Okay.
But first I want to mention, we are foreseeing the future because we feel the next 12 to 24 months, the market is really going to start to pick up because we think interest rates are going to dip, they're going to come down, and more buyers, like the millennials we were just talking about, they're going to get triggered amongst others, all right, to jump more strongly into the market.
Absolutely.
All right? I'm thinking back, and I mention this because I'm thinking it's going to get back to what it was possibly like during the COVID boom, all right? When,
like
of course,
2021 market.
Yeah, everyone thought that real estate was going to go dead.
Yeah.
We saw
did not.
exactly the opposite. In fact, what 3D tours did during that time was it brought all of these out-of-state or international buyers into the home. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember we listed a home
where showings were difficult.
Yeah,
if not
we listed a home.
not allowed.
We listed a home in Holly Springs.
Yep.
And it was an out-of-state buyer who physically, it was impossible for them to make it here. And we had like 15 offers on the house, and somebody offers $100,000 above ask with $100,000 due diligence. You know, I became a god that day to my seller. All right.
With the little G. A little G.
Well, yes, a little G. Yeah, a real estate god.
Yeah.
A real estate god.
A real estate deity.
And you know, rightly so, because I did all that work.
You did all that work.
Yeah.
And again,
And they benefited.
let me ask you this, Paul. This is what we always say. We'll try anything for like a year and see if it works. And if it works, we keep doing it. And as I said, Paul said, we've been doing this for years. It is the best way. And I talk to sellers all the time, and I know there's other folks out there that do the drone tours, and they have a little drone fly through your house. And this is what I want to tell you. Everybody who got a drone with the camera on it for Christmas is not a photographer, you know, and that's what the point of having that in-house photographer is so important, because they have a lot of experience. Our girl does. She does a really great job. She has a lot of experience in it. And again, it's about showcasing the home, not just flying your little, tour around. And I'll tell you something else. You talked about this before we started filming about this subject, was why do you think certain companies don't have as many data points or scans or that?
Cost.
Right.
You know, first off, this is all of what they do, tours, maybe photos, all right? They have to do more of them to make it a profitable business for them,
That's
if you
right.
will.
So they do speed.
They do speed. They
Yep.
do turnaround. They do fewer scans.
Yep.
Thus, it's that wonkiness you see and lack of specificity and clarity, and it just doesn't look like ours. I'll put it that way. And others do it as good as us as well. But that's why the quality can change.
Absolutely.
You know, one thing I want to mention. This is a key part of our marketing plan that we leverage all the time, and we use it when we're going after our marketing plan. Of course, we leverage going after expireds, for sale by owners, but it is amazing when I look at MLS and I'm looking at listings in general, and I see 5 photos. I see the minimum of 3 photos. I see no tour. I see no 3D Matterport tour.
And sometimes it's surprising the price point of these homes with no photos.
Man,
or photos taken with their phone. Have you seen those?
It's a $1 million plus house that has like 15 photos, and it's and no video tour.
Yeah,
And no 3D tour.
Your cell phone may work for your Friday night barbecue, or your, kids recital. It's not what you want for your marketing photos. Remember, your marketing photos, your 3D tour, all that stuff is your impression to the world. It has to be good. It has to be dynamic. And in fact, buyers, you have about 8 seconds to capture them. And
That's a good point. I forgot about that.
Having the best dynamic content that you can have, meaning great photos, a tour, a floor plan, great descriptions. We give you all 4 right up front.
Yeah, you got 8 seconds to capture that best buyer. Otherwise, they're moving on to something else. So you're doing your seller a disservice if you don't put your marketing plan out there. And why don't houses sell? Or why don't houses sell for as good as they could? There's 4 reasons.
Exposure.
It's price, it's location, condition, and it's marketing. A lot of people forget about marketing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we highlight that. Especially when we're sitting on an expired.
Yeah.
All right. Usually it's
They're frustrated.
It's
They
a
didn't sell.
sellable house. They just didn't get it in front of the right person.
That's right.
Or they had somebody that could negotiate horribly for them. That's a problem.
That's neither here nor there.
But anyway.
But with that being said, it's absolutely what you want your realtor to do. And I'll tell everybody this. If your realtor's goals are not your goals, you have the wrong realtor. And our goal is, like I said, to sell your house as fast as we can with the least inconvenience to you for the best dollar. So if that's your goal and you want to get your house sold, give us a call. Like us, subscribe, reach out to our DM, and we'll respond to you. We'll take care of you. Wouldn't you agree with that?
I absolutely agree with that.
That's right. So I think our next topic, Paul, is a fun topic. It's wines, Ode to the Grape. All right, that's what I'm calling this section. You like that? You like Ode to the Grape?
It's a switch.
It's a switch, that's right.
Switch.
3D towards wine. Yeah. So I want to start this section off by telling you, or this segment I should say, I don't know anything about wine. Like I don't know, literally I know nothing.
Other than that it's delicious.
I'll tell you this, I did not like it when I was younger. I am growing more accustomed to it as I get older.
Because you have a favorite. You've been telling me about your favorite
okay.
for like 20 minutes.
So I, again, I've had them at different price points. I've had some nice expensive ones with Paul. But my favorite white is a Kendall Jackson Vinters Reserve. It's a Chardonnay. It's good. It's just dry enough, but not too dry. It's got a nice full bouquet. Would you say? Is that how?
Bouquet? Yeah.
And
now, you sound like a sommelier.
Oh yeah, that's a wine steward, by the way. If you don't know that, sommelier.
They're the expert.
Sommelier. Exactly.
Yeah, I believe that's how you pronounce it.
I will tell you this: the Vintners Reserve, the Kendall Jackson, it goes down. It goes down nice and easy. With that being said,
that's funny. When I was younger, I said that about Boone's Farm.
Oh no, Boone's Farm. Oh, that brings back some childhood memories there. Well, not childhood, but you understand my point.
The apple, not the strawberry. By the way.
Oh yeah, you were okay.
Yeah,
all right.
Yeah. But by the way, I am by far no expert either. But probably like a lot of you, I've gone through stages where I did have a lot of interest in wine and read up on it and tried a lot of different things. And recently we've been at some EXP events and actually team events with our sponsor Sharon Evans. Yeah, and we were part of wine pairing.
Oh, nice.
We had different courses of we went to EXP for an event recently, and Diane and I went to a restaurant, and we had 5 courses, and each course was paired with the wine, and I'll tell you, that was outstanding. And the same thing was done at Sharon's event at Angus Barn.
Oh yeah, great atmosphere.
Where they have a huge wine cellar. There's I think 15,000 bottles.
Yes.
And they gave us a tour. They showed us. I think the most expensive bottle in there was over $100,000.
Whoa.
Okay? And I was actually a little disappointed in Sharon because Sharon did not give us one of those bottles at dinner. But hey, all that means is we have to work harder.
That's right. We got to help you sell your house
next year.
Yeah, that's right. Buy houses.
By the way, it was a great event. Thank you, Sharon. By the way.
So can I talk to you? So you were talking about the balance there, and I want to key on that. So I don't know anything, as I said, about wine, so I looked up some information, and according to winecellargroup.com, and again, they have a whole website about wine, so I'm guessing they know what they're talking about.
You read it on the internet. It has to be true.
Well, fair enough. I like the way you're thinking. With that being said, it says the wine and the food should balance.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'll give you an example of what they said. You should pair it according to the most prominent feature of the dish. For example, if you're having chicken and mushrooms, you're going to have a red with that. It's a more earthy type thing, so you want to go with the red. But if you're having chicken with, say, a lemon sauce, then you're going to pair that with a white.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay.
You know, there are, the different classifications of wine.
No.
And I'm sure depending on what you read, they can approach this a little
I looked
different.
up some pairing stuff, but no, give me
Red, white, rosé, sparkling, and dessert wines.
red, white, rosé,
sparkling,
and dessert. Okay.
Here's something else I found, though. Different types of wine. This sheet has like 30 different wines on it. It goes well beyond what I just said.
Right.
Chenin Blanc, Zinfandel, Pinot Grigio, Shiraz. I know like Diane loves a Shiraz because I think that's a mixture of different kinds of wines.
Okay.
Malbec. Anyway, it goes on and on and on. Like we were talking about the sommelier, the wine stewards. Where do you learn all this stuff? Is there a wine university?
I don't know, but it sounds like a good job.
Yeah. Hey, if there's one out there, let us know how you became one. I'm curious about that.
Yeah, I would love to know that.
Yeah.
And I wanted to do, so again, this is a fun topic. Obviously, we're talking about it, and you go through phases in your life where you like to try different things. You develop more of a taste for this or for that. And as I got older, like I said, I'm getting more of a appreciation for wine. But then, okay, so when do you drink it? What do you drink it with? How do you pair it? So going back to the winecellargroup.com, they said dry wine. What do you think you pair it with?
A dry wine? Beef?
Yeah, so no. According to them,
well, which is it?
It's I was just saying to say okay, but no, that's not right. According to them, it is bread, fish, or dessert for a dry wine.
Okay.
How about a sweet wine?
That doesn't go with dessert?
It does go with dessert and also cheese.
Oh, yeah.
That's what they say.
So you're talking about
I don't know.
like a Riesling or a Gewürztraminer, which I love to say that name, by the way.
Yeah, I can't say that. I'm not even going to try to say that.
I remember those because they are sweet. So I guess they would go with cheese.
Which one is super sweet?
Riesling and Gewürztraminer, I think, are both sweet.
You okay?
Riesling, definitely.
Are you okay? Because when you say that, I feel like you might be stroking out on me or something.
No. Those are both words.
Yeah, I got
you. Those words I did not do a college paper on. But
fair enough.
I did learn them.
So sparkling, it says that you pair that with fish, bread, and cheese. So sparkling is like champagne, right? The champagne?
Champagne, I think, has its own category.
Oh, does it? Okay.
But I could be wrong.
Okay. How about a dessert wine?
Listen, you're talking to the guy that started with Boone's Farm, and, I'll go back to the pairing in the wine steward.
Okay.
I will, like, when we're out to eat, or I'm at an event, or Diane and I are together, we will ask for help when it comes to the wine.
Absolutely.
Because I am not a connoisseur, all right? I ask the wine steward, what do you recommend? Give me some suggestions for this.
Okay.
All right? And then they get into what is it that you like, and then they usually can narrow it down to one or two.
So like, do you tell them a brand or just a style? So do you say I like cabs, or do you say
this is what I'm eating?
Okay.
Okay. What do you recommend you pair it with? Okay.
Nice.
And then sometimes they get in, like you were talking about before, the bouquet, the balance. They'll get into the details because they understand the wine and they have experience of what it goes with.
I got you.
Okay. Like, hey, listen. You know how I treat wines? Like I hope my sellers treat selling their home when they're talking to me. Like they talk to the expert so that we can give them advice.
I like that tie in there. I like that.
I'm all for that. You know why? Because if I'm gonna drop a couple $100 on a bottle of wine, give or take,
you want it to be the right one. Yeah.
I want to enjoy it.
That's right.
I want my guests that are with me to enjoy it.
So again, this show is to be talking about fun stuff and hopefully offering you some helpful tips. And so real quick, dessert. You would do dessert or bread, which I thought was interesting. And then a medium red, you would do beef or chicken, is what it said on there. And then I wanted to key on this, Paul, and it's probably good for both of us. We're working on our health a little bit, trying here and there. The MayoClinic.org says that red wine has antioxidants that help protect the lining of blood vessels in the heart.
That is
in moderation, of course.
And if that isn't a reason to drink, what is?
Well, again, moderation.
Yeah.
But absolutely. And then my favorite red, which we got off that a little bit, but my favorite red is Three Finger Jack. It was a pretty inexpensive wine, and it was like surprisingly good.
That sounds more like a bourbon.
I don't know why.
That's a great name for a bourbon, by the way.
Three-Finger Jack.
Three-Finger Jack.
But it's a great name for a wine too, evidently.
Yeah.
But I'm going to tell you this: you ever open a bottle of wine, decant it, you wait your appropriate amount of time, you have a glass of it, and you're like, "That's pretty good. I like that." Then you have a second glass, and you're like, "It just keeps getting better." That was our experience to the point we went out and got another bottle. So again, I don't know everything about wine, basically nothing, but I do like having it with food. I do like the pairings and what it brings out in the food. And again, I like to try different things.
You could really have a fun time with wines. You saw the list, man, and that's just touching it.
Yeah, like again, acquired taste. There's a lot to try.
But you know, wines are a good. It's a fun thing that you can experiment with.
And you're not going to like all of them. No. I don't like them really dry or really sweet.
That's exactly what I don't like.
Okay.
The really dry.
Yeah.
Ones. Well, sweet I can. Depending on what I'm eating.
Well, Paul, I don't know if you have anything else to add to the Ode to Great, but I do have an appointment, so we need to probably get out of here soon.
That sounds like a plan. So thanks again for joining us for another episode of Reconcilable Differences. This was episode 6.
Yeah, episode 6.
Episode 6.
That's right.
And remember to like and subscribe. We appreciate that. And remember, have a great day and good selling.